Today we're here with a living legend in the pigeon racing sport in South Africa, Mr. George Reed. Welcome.
Thank you.
To our podcast, and it's an honor to have you here, really.
Thanks.
Growing up myself, your name was bandied around, legendary status. So tell us a bit about it yourself and mention some of those legends that you, because I know you're originally from the south of Joburg, and some of those legendary names that we've only heard of that you raced with.
Yeah, now it all started in 1953. I lived completely just straight across the road from Roland Bauer.
Okay.
And I got into pigeons before I actually went to school. And pigeons have actually kept myself and Roland together as friends for over 70 years.
Sure.
And Bob Bauer, his dad, took me under his wing.
If I can just interrupt this, sometimes Roland says to me, you should have been his dad's son and not him.
Yeah. Well, no,
he makes that joke often.
I looked after his father for quite a time when he was in a wheelchair.
That's right, yeah.
I used to go up to the house every night, sit and watch TV, talk pigeons, and
take him to the auctions.
Yeah, and I used to help the maid put him into bed and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that was the start.
Okay.
And then the club that I raced in, the Southern Suburbs Homing Society, those years, they were 38 members strong when I started there, but there were 65 members. And then old man Peter Skuman, they broke away to Southwesterns, which they made Leonard Street the boundary.
That's right, yeah.
And but I grew up with all those old top pigeon fanciers, Jackie Duplessis, Dr. Arthur Breimer, L.B. Lamb, just to mention a few.
Yes, those are legends in our game. I never ever met them, but we've heard so many stories about them. Actually, a guy that comes here often that mentions some of their names, which you all know is a guy called Walter Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
So Walter, he knew of them.
Yeah, Walter's dad also raced pigeons.
Yes. Yeah. So it all started for you back then?
Yeah. And then my first lot of pigeons I did get from Bob Bauer, Roland's dad. And he took me to actually John Hooler, which were at a Kill Stars in Germiston.
Yeah, I remember it in the back of the Old Farmers Weekly, that's how I remember it.
Yeah, and I bought 2 pigeons there, which were slimmer patries, but with Hooler keeping pure slimmers and pure patries. The pair that I got was crossed, but they were direct out of Kippens Lorraine, a son and a daughter.
Okay.
And then later, Roland Bauer's dad Roland brought in the Norris from overseas.
Yes.
And they had to make space in their loft. And they gave me a basket full of their old stock pigeons. And when we went through them, the ones that were breeding winners and stuff, there was a son and daughter direct out of Twilight amongst them.
Sure, Twilight's legendary in our country. I mean, she's...
I actually...
Strange spotted one.
I actually handled Twilight when she won. But I was still a kid though. And I saw her come from the one race. Roland and his dad made me sit on the ground behind the old ironing room, which was a corrugated ironing room just outside the kitchen. I had to sit flat down on the floor there, on the ground. And she came right through across the church as it was getting dark. And then she won the championship race in the TRPF that year with 5 birds home on the day. And then the next year she won it again with 7 birds home on the day.
Yes.
And she holds the record for the only pigeon up to this day that could win the TRPF championship 2 years in succession.
Sure, that's an amazing pigeon name.
Then out of her daughter, I had a pigeon called 1212, which was 14 times my first bird, which in turn bred me my Durban hen. Durban hen was the THU gold medal winner. She, why I called her the Durban hen, there was like a invitation race at the end of the season from Durban. And she was coming well as a yearling, so I thought I'd send her because she was on form. But they let the pigeons go in the rain.
Shame.
And There weren't birds home on the Saturday, there weren't birds home on the Sunday. The Tuesday pigeons started coming through.
Yeah.
But the Durban end was lost. And I got a call from our ring steward in the union that my pigeon walked into a factory in Kempton Park.
I remember a story.
I must go and fetch her. So I went there, it was a Sunday, and she was a handful of feathers like that. And I took her home, not killing pigeons on Sunday, I just threw her in the loft and I forgot about it. The next year, when I was taking stock of the race birds, she was still in the loft. And as a 2-year-old, she was the best bird in the club. As a 3-year-old, the best bird in the union, winning 5 races.
Sure. And she was also out of the Bob Bauer.
Yeah, she was. She actually went direct back to Twilight through Twilight's daughter. So
okay.
Yeah.
And then before we get to the birds that made a hell of an impact for you, being those Manders and the Slimmers.
No.
Just give us a background of your results and your achievements.
Well, in the Southern Suburbs Club, which was one of the strongest clubs in the TRPF, I won their averages 29 times in a row, sort of thing. 29
times in a row?
Yeah. And then since I've been in the Cape 10 times now.
Yeah, and that's all similar birds?
Yeah, same pigeons.
And then give us a little bit of background on that Slimmer and those Manders pigeons, because I think that Manders, I think you called them the magic pair.
Yeah.
They still hold some record for breeding the mountain winners in a season.
Yeah, the magic pair. It was a Janssen cock which was bred out of Andre Pels's Janssens.
Okay.
Friend of mine. He gave me a pair of Janssens and they bred me 14 winners. But the last cock, the best one was the gold medal cock. He won me 6 races in 5 seconds. He won the gold medal in the union. And I mated him to that Durban end. They were made, 2 gold medals were mated together and I called them my gold medal pair. But the Pitmunders, the magic pair, bred me 33 winners here in Joburg and about 170 winners now in the Cape.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Average of 19 wins a season.
And then your Slimmer line, where did that originate? Because you, I can see you're quite proud of having kept that line running.
Yeah.
If you can just tell us a bit.
I got from LB Lab, a son and daughter direct out of Lady Superior, which was bred of a Slimmer cock and Lorraine, which was Sonny Cupid's puppy, and the one that they called the hen that laid golden eggs.
Yes.
And Eric Walter had 2399, a pure Slimmer cock, which was Twilight's father's brother.
Okay.
That bred something like 7 motor car winners, 2399. And so he was constantly mated to Lady Superior at the time, 2399.
Okay. That's an amazing achievement, those birds. And then the other thing which I know I nag you about lots on Facebook is we might not going to get it, but we're going to get some of it out of you now. We always ask you to, because your articles are always so informative. So just basically running down from the beginning what George Reed does from the beginning of this. I won't say the beginning of the season because there is no beginning of the season. Say through the molt, anything special, and then I know you advertise sometimes that Piet Schoeman, the racing booklet of his. But what does George Reed do from going through the start
of the season? I'll go through the basics. I'll vaccinate for PMV1, do the pox, might vaccinate again for PMV1 about 3 weeks before the season starts. Yeah, and then I'll put them on a program, like a 3-weekly cycle. respiratory, coccidiosis, deworming, canker. Yeah.
Do you do malaria at all?
Yeah, what I use is Imbazin.
Okay.
Imbazin and Eversol.
And Eversol for the
I
malaria.
mix it too, yeah.
Okay, and then once you've been through all that, how does the training?
The training starts with a lot of short tosses, about 6 weeks before the time, and one long toss like over weekends. But otherwise, I'll do all my short tosses. I do it midday.
You do all the short tosses. And when you say short, what is it? 30, 40?
30, 40 kilometers.
Okay.
25 to 40 minutes on the wing.
On the wing. And only train once a day?
Only train once a day.
And then on a Saturday?
On a Saturday, they get a long toss.
Which is how much about?
120 k's.
120 k's.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's basically your training, and you keep this.
Yeah.
And then the feeding, which is very important. A lot of guys, guys always say, I feed too heavy, I feed too light. They feed. There's so many different mixes and imports and all different foods on the market. What do you?
Old man Peter Schoeman, I used to go to his shop a lot. I used to learn quite a lot there as well.
Yes.
And I was flying very well, and he also asked me, what do I feed? So I said, I don't have to tell you because you're a champion. So he says, no, tell me. So I said to him, I'll give my birds 30% barley, 30% normal racing mixture, and 30% those days Epal racing pigeon pellets.
Yes.
And I mixed it. And he stood back and he looked at me and he gave it like a lot of thought. He said to me, you know what, you're giving your pigeons a completely full balanced diet by doing that. But he gave it like a lot of thought. And it also keeps the pigeons well during the off-season.
So, and do you give it, how do you feed it, as much as they want, or do you measure off, or do you?
No, as soon as they start leaving the barley, then I know the pigeons have had enough.
Okay, so as soon as they've had enough, they start leaving the barley. And then obviously, there's been a lot of discussion lately amongst fanciers about the inbreeding and the crossbreeding and all of that. And you're one of the guys that's kept that slimmer line of yours so-called pure.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you breed?
Yeah, well, once I get a click pair, and that's like every baby is just about a winner.
Yes.
All the babies perform.
Yes.
I don't break a pair. I keep them together for life.
Okay.
And as they're getting older, like 9 years old, I'll start putting every loss around the babies, I'll put back to stock to carry on with it.
Okay.
And then if I find a click pair amongst those babies, I'll just repeat
the cycle
repeats
itself.
Repeat it.
Okay, and then, but your other lines like the Manders, Janssens, would you cross those two lines, the slimmers?
Yeah, I have.
Don't you find it works? Or?
Yeah, no, I have, but only in the race loft. Should they go down on eggs in the race loft and a Manders cock is mated to a slimmer hen, or Ringo's babies for racing. So I've got the diebreed we go all the time.
And what have you found like that?
Well, I've had a scully hen. She actually, as a yearling, she actually got young bird disease. My wife still said to me, you must destroy that bird. And I had it in a basket in front of the loft. And I said to her, just leave the pigeon. The next year, that little hen won me 3 races.
After having young bird disease?
Off
that cross. Now, would you put a cross like that to stock or not?
If it's an exception bird.
If it's an exception.
And that scully hen actually bred the best bird at Sun City, best South African bird at Sun City the one year.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And then obviously, you've been around a long time now. What is your viewpoint on the way the pigeon sport's going? I know it's a lot more difficult where you are now.
Yeah.
And then about all the one lofts coming up and that kind of stuff.
Well, look, the new lofts is like the new era now.
Yeah.
And but you still got to have these, these small clubs with a few members to keep the sport going.
Yeah.
But the one-way lofts are great, but it's going to be affordable.
But what do you, any ideas of how we can get it growing? Because if you look back at the time when you said Southern Suburbs was 65, and then they split between the one road, some members, and the other road, the other members. How do we ever get back to that membership? How do we?
Well, I don't know, but those two clubs that are in question have actually, they're under the same roof again. Southwestern Zoning Society and Southern Suburbs, they are under the same roof again.
Which means there can't be a lot of members.
No, I think there's 8 in the one and maybe 13 in the other.
So what do you think? First of all, how's the racing done in the Cape, or where you are? Where exactly in the Cape are you?
Riversdale, south of Riversdale.
So how's the racing there?
Racing the Heidelberg Club, and we got one big transporter with something like 9 different unions on it. The spread is bigger.
Yeah, the spread is bigger.
From Stilbaai right to Veldrif on the west coast.
So give us that in kilometres?
450 kilometres spread. And the pigeons have got to come by themselves.
So here we got like about 40 or 50 kilometres.
And then you got the mountains there, and you got the hawks. And also position counts a lot there, because some clubs, the pigeons have to fly what they call past longs. But my birds were asked they got to come through the mountain, which is a different story. And then of course certain weather conditions, those mountains close up and the birds just don't come through.
I've heard that.
And also when your birds are on form there, you can get 2 pigeons quickly. And you can wait an hour or 2 for your next bird to arrive.
Crazy.
Because they go around the mountain instead of coming through.
And what's the pigeon racing? Is it growing there? Is it also...
Well, my club has grown. When I got down there, there were 13 members. And I actually got a whole lot of old second-hand clocks for them. And they grew to 29 members.
Yeah, I've seen you've put quite a lot in, and you've sold pigeons and donated to the club. And so you're 29 members down there?
And but our union, the Winelands Union, we're about 89 members.
89 in the Winelands Union?
89 members, but in the Winelands Union on the same track, but then there's like the Boerland Union, and West Coast Union, there's quite a few unions.
Yes. But do you think enough's being done down there to grow the sport, besides in your club? In general, in South Africa, I mean, you've been around, so you know the whole scene.
Look, a lot of those clubs only got 4 members. They seem to be dwindling, but you know, you've got to have members that promote the game, otherwise it's not going to grow.
You got to have, that's one true thing. And I think up here there are a few members trying that, but I'm just not sure about the outlying areas, like your area or the rural areas.
The federated board down in Cape Town is quite big, strong there.
That's the biggest in the country. Federated board. And
they're all keen pigeon fans.
Very keen pigeon fans, but they a couple of hundred, how many members there?
I think there's 600.
600 members or so, Very, very strong there, but that's the keenness. But strangely though, as it goes out of that area, it seems to dwindle. Even up here, you know, we got I would say our cities, but as soon as you go out to the outskirts, it seems to dwindle. Where in the past it used to be strong.
You see the kids today, the young guys, they're not really interested in pigeons unless it's a pigeon fancier's son or
something like
related.
But it's tough to get it. Tough to get it. It's just good to hear from guys like you what you think we should be doing, because sometimes you feel you're stuck in a doldrum because you're trying to do things, but it just doesn't seem to be attracting.
When a beginner comes into the sport, you've got to take him under your wing, and any beginner, I'd say, should find a top fancier and spend time with him. Spend time with him and find out what he does. You take the old guys like Isaac Bell. He spent his time with a bloke called soos J.A. Talliat, Jan Talliat, Oxford Road in Kensington.
Okay.
Isaac Bell used to go there every afternoon to help our Jan Talliat's mother fly the birds.
Okay.
And he learned a lot there, and also he got his good pigeons from there. He knew exactly where the good pigeons were sitting in the loft, and he used to go into the loft, and when he came out, you couldn't touch the man. He had eggs all over. And he used to switch eggs and that's how he got his good pigeons, like Pell.
Yeah.
Now those Pell pigeons are still great birds today.
Yes, a very good friend of mine flew some of them. You might have known him, Terence Connolly.
Yeah.
So Terence flew a lot of those Isaac Bell pigeons, dark checker, white flights.
Yeah.
And they did very, very well for you.
Yeah. No, I knew Terence very well.
Did you know Terence?
Yeah. He was also good friends with the old Sid Hyde.
Yes.
And that's where the black bells came from.
Okay. Yeah, he mentioned that a few times to me.
Yeah, Isaac Bell bought, or somehow he got a black bell in from Franz Patry. But it was a black noise in.
Okay.
And Sid Hyde bought the end from Isaac. And then he named it the black bells.
What's your impression on all these new strains or these modern strains that are coming now? Like the Kittles and Best Kittles and...
No, they must also be good pigeons, but most of them go back, I think, to the Janssen pigeons.
Yes. Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, look, the Janssen brothers at what Franz Patry did to this country, the Janssen brothers did to the whole world.
They did it to the world, there's no doubt about that.
Wherever they went,
Yeah, so you think it's just a bit of Janssen based that's coming back in again?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just taken a new name of the breeder, that's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Otherwise, they will go back to the old.
But strange you say that in South Africa, we I mean, how long have you been breeding your strain of pigeons now?
Well, I started putting the good ones together in 1968. And
yet we still call them slimmers.
Slimmers.
But they should be George Lee pigeons.
Actually.
If they were overseas, that's what they would be.
Yeah, that's what they were doing now. I mean, it's the same as Tom Locks.
Tom Locks, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. He was another, did you know Tom?
Yeah, very well.
And a good one, eh?
Yeah, very well.
Developed a strain
that's... His first lot of patries, Tom Lock got from Ted Hack, which was Ted Hack and Bertie Hack. They also flew in Suburbs Society at the time.
Yeah.
And then I know, with Dr. Bryman passing away at this time, Tom Lock got a voter cock.
That's right.
On that side.
Yes, he did.
Which was a cross well, and then I think he brought in painted patries as well.
Yes, he did. He brought in the painted patry.
Yeah.
And that's another one that's still been going forever, are the patries. I think it's still a bit in your blood as well.
Yeah, now the painted patries and my pigeons come from the same source.
Same source.
And more or less at the same time.
Yeah. So those birds have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to bring in any of these newer strains? Besides the Denoras, did you try the Denoras?
I tried one Denora cock.
Yes.
It didn't really work for me.
Okay, the strange was a good name, eh?
Yeah, then I had another cock which I got, actually Butrowski bought it.
Yes.
It was Huisken van Riel.
Yes.
But from Huisken van Riel's son.
Okay.
Jeff van Riel's son.
Yes.
And that cock bred me very good.
You did.
So
how often do you bring new birds in then to you?
Look, I try and bring in one good pigeon every year from somebody else, but it's got to be a bird that's better than what I've already got, otherwise it's not going to improve my pigeons.
So how do you judge that? Do you go on performance?
On performance, and then also put it to the test in the race basket.
In the race basket.
So shoot, mate it to your best pigeon, and if they don't breed winners straight away, it's out.
It's out, yeah.
We had an old bloke in our club as well, Robert Dupree. When he brought the pigeon in and it didn't work, he'd get rid of the whole family. The mother, the father, all the babies related to
And then just going back on your breeding system, and And feeding, what do you feed because we spoke about the race birds,
Yeah.
but the stock birds?
The stock birds I feed, well, down there where I am at the moment, I normally just buy mealies from the agri shop. And then I put chicken breeding pellets with it, the e-pole.
Yeah.
And also I put Montego puppy food with it.
Okay,
The small pellets.
You mentioned that Montego puppy food.
Yeah, and
well, any puppy food actually.
yeah, but the Montego one is the size of a maple tree.
Okay.
And if you put it down for the stock birds to eat, they'll eat that first. So it tells me something.
Something's good about it. Yeah. And then grits for the stock birds?
The grit I go and collect myself at a place called Sculpey's by at
Strawberry.
Amongst the rocks there.
Okay, so you give that straight to them. And do you give that to the race birds at all?
Yeah, but I take it out on a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. Do you guys also only basket Thursdays there? Do you have Friday?
No, we have Fridays and then Thursdays, and then they have comeback races where we go back to a Friday. You know, like in between, before ultra long race, they have a comeback.
And what is the longest races you race there?
Ours is Bloemhof, which is just on 900 k's.
On 900 k's. And how have you performed down there with birds coming from our area now moving to a completely different area? How have they? Yeah,
look, I had to sort out which ones fly down there, and my one pair of slimmer patries I had there was a 101 and 102. I sent the two to Bloemhof, and which was our longest race, and it was just getting dark, and the two birds dropped together.
Both together?
Two together, only two birds I won the day.
Sure. That's magic.
Two the dog chickens, they were nest mates.
Yes. If I remember correctly, before you moved, you had a dispersal sale.
Yeah.
So what did you keep then? Just a few babies? Or what did you do?
I kept some of the very old stock birds, which was not worthwhile putting on the sale, because the new owner wouldn't have got anything out of them. Okay. And then I kept around the babies in our TRPF. It was 100 rand a derby ring at the time. Okay. And I bought 30 of them, and I run 30 of those on my best stock babies. Now that round of babies I kept. So you kept, you didn't go down with a lot of birds? No. And tell me the birds that stayed behind, have you had results or heard of the results? Plenty. All over, plenty. Plenty good results, yeah. I actually went, must have been about 3 years ago. There's an old Portuguese guy who sells food, I can't remember his name. Pereira. Yeah, and he said he raced with you, and he spoke very highly of you. Yeah, he stays just like 400 and he said he had some of your birds that had done very well for him. 400 meters away from me. Yeah. One of my best seasons ever was when I moved to the house there by Pereira. Yeah. And I only had a team of yearlings, 75 yearlings. And I won the TRPF averages at the Albert averages. I won the Albert averages with a team of yearlings. Yes. I had 75 yearlings. That's fantastic. Yeah. Sure. And that was just the slimmer butts and that was just the slimmer butts. Just the slimmer butts. Our chairman at the time was Dr. Breimer. Okay. And he still mentioned in the beginning of the season. Now I was starting to win, and he mentioned that you're going to feel the pinch after a while. Yeah, because they're babies now. Yeah, and the birds came better. We had a hard Colesberg. No birds come through during the daytime. And as I went to go fetch my clock, as I took the clock was in the flying, pigeon dropped next to me, and I just clocked it. And then I phoned up because we had to report in those days, yeah. And Dr. Breimer was taking the reports as he was the chairman. And he laughed. He thought I was joking. I said, Doc, I've got a pigeon. He laughed again. I said, Doc, you better take my time. I've got a pigeon. And that shook him a bit. Yeah, I can imagine. And then, what are some of your most memorable races being up here? You must have a good few. Yeah, look, I won the TRPF Mikey's Fontaine with a cock, which was the only bird home on the second day of the race. That's how far was that for you? 1100? It was 1,060 kilometers.
Yeah.
And I timed him exactly on the dot, 1 o'clock on the Sunday. The next bird in the fed was 2:10. But Mark Pigeon was the only bird on the second day in the Southern Suburbs.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And some other big races?
Yeah, the one championship, I was having a bad season. And about 3 weeks before the championship, I thought now I've got to start shaking the bottle, get the pigeons right. And I treated them for canker and for respiratory. And then I had a box that Eric Walter gave me with all the LB lamb stuff in it still. The bottom of the box, I found a little tin of bifuril, still full.
Was it the powder or the tablet?
Tablet. And on the Tuesday, when the birds came home from the fed truck, tossed it in the water. And we flew 3 sisters championships.
Just forward, yeah.
And 5:10 that afternoon, I get 2 birds together. And I've got to report to Zandi Meyer.
I remember Zandi, yeah.
Yeah, I had to report to Zandi Meyer, and as I found him, he said, well, he hasn't got pigeons yet. And because he stayed in the front of me as well.
Okay.
He hasn't got pigeons yet. About 10 minutes later, Bertie Prinsloo is at my gate. Come to check to see if the pigeons are in the loft. And I said to him, Bertie, there's the pigeon and there's the chicory. Vang them. He wants to see them. So he handled the birds and he says, nee, die duive het gevlieg. And then he took the numbers down. And when I got to the club, I heard Zandi sending to see if the pigeons were in the loft. And I said to him, Zandi, how can you do that? He says, to protect you, he said.
Yeah, which is true sometimes.
Yeah,
because you know, accusations, and we've had that this year and last year.
And then
the cheating going on is not, it's not good for the sport. So the better protection, the better.
No, the Pigeon won the championship again the previous year, the next year.
The next year.
The next year.
And those were all slimmers. Because those are two. And you've carried on with that strain.
Carried on with that.
And then you mentioned to be club champion there 29 years.
29 times.
Yeah, that's a massive achievement.
The last season I raced up here, I won 18 races for the season. 18.
Sure. But then you had a mix of the birds. You had the Janssens.
Then I had the Janssens as well.
And do you still have those Janssens today?
Yeah, the Pigmunders.
They still. Which are the birds that perform for you down there now?
It all depends. So, you know, they both strains. Depends when they're well. You know, if I send them and they're well,
they come. You can't say one's better than the other.
No, I can't divide them.
Look there. And what are the latest ones that you've brought in that you've tried?
No, not really. I brought in 1801 from Monty van der Berg. It's Loen. She's doing quite well with my cross with the Pigmunders.
Okay.
And that's about all.
That's about all you've brought in. Yes, you see, you've maintained because there are very few guys that can maintain a strain for that.
Yeah, and I brought in a few of the painted batteries direct from
Steer. And Steer, he does just as well with those batteries. Because, and especially on the distance, and even in the one-offs, I mean, Steer's done phenomenally well.
Now you've got to be careful when you bring in new pigeons. You've got to trust the person or the fancy that you get
the right birds, And Steer's birds clicked with yours? Because they're similar birds, eh? Really similar birds.
Yeah, they look a little bit different though, because I don't make my pigeons up like they would.
Sure.
So when I bring them in, it's like just about like an outcross, but still it's the same blood.
It's the same blood,
And you can see they throw back to those old originals. A lot of those old originals I actually saw, you know, like 475 and all that.
All that you would have handled them and seen them.
Sunny Keep and that.
Yeah.
And then Eric Walter used to be a very good friend of mine. Him and his dad. His dad used to live down the road in the Regent's Park Hotel there near me.
Okay.
He used to come up to my house quite a few times to come and have a look at the birds.
I know, what's her name's dad, yeah, had a bit of them. So Whitey Hatton, I don't know if you know Whitey.
Whitey.
And Nick Hatton,
Yeah.
you know, from Benoni, they had quite a bit of that slim.
Yeah, they were actually related to Old Man Lamb.
Yeah, so it was their uncle. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
They also got a few birds from me. Nick.
Yes,
Before he passed away.
Yes. And then Joe also got some of those birds, Joe Gomes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he developed his family on that side, which also flew extremely well.
Now I've got LB Lamb's stockbook, and he kept like records like you can't believe, and where every single pigeon went, they had the name next to it, and the date.
That's amazing. Yes. Yeah. So where did his birds originate? Directly from Patrick?
A lamb. Yeah. Someday he bought the Churchill cock and the tennis, and then the Churchill cock was Patrick's first federation winner in Joburg.
And he bought it.
He bought it, and then of course he bought Lady Superior Kip and Sail, which was the most expensive pigeon, and look, Old Man Lamb was an old English pigeon fancier. He had the Logans and all those.
Logans,
But when the Patrice came in and Slimmers,
they did the damage.
And Lamb, I went to his house one day, and it was hard to get pigeons from him. You couldn't just go there and buy pigeons. But I said to him, Mr. Lamb, show me your stock birds. He took me to a little loft there. I said, but where's the pigeons? He said, there they are, 4 pairs of pigeons.
That was it?
That was it. And then he bred, of course, out of his race loft. But he only had a few pigeons, he never kept a lot of birds.
Now tell me, in those days compared to the modern day now, did the guys treat and medicate as much? Or is it true that they didn't medicate, or are we living in a dream where we have to medicate?
Yeah, no, they medicated, but they didn't medicate with modern stuff. You know, they'd use a few drops of Lugol's iodine in the water.
Yes.
Do the pigeons garlic in the water.
A lot more natural stuff.
Yeah, all the natural stuff. And they destroy a pigeon if it's sick. We try and
keep it, yeah.
So the pigeons built up like a hell of a...
And in those days there wasn't the paramixer, am I right?
No, it wasn't paramixer and there wasn't pox.
Wasn't there pox?
There wasn't pox. But pox came in 1966. Old man Bill Morkel and Sir I went overseas to Belgium. It was the time that old man I bought the Ducker Blower Rice.
Also birds that made history.
Then they came back with pox vaccine and they vaccinated the pigeons. 1966 we started getting pox.
And
that started it off.
And then the paramixer?
Paramixer, nothing. Never got it.
Never got it?
Never got that.
Why do you think that came about? Also vaccines?
Also maybe he's imported birds from overseas.
Yeah.
I know Roland Bauer had a paramixer which I knew was, to my mind, was the first lot that broke out when he came back from overseas.
How is it,
In his lot. Big blobs of droppings.
Yes, I know exactly.
And he battled to get rid of it.
Yeah. And then what's your point of view on the paratyphoid?
Well, paratyphoid you've got to watch out. It's normally, it's not just that the mice can come into your lot. The grain that comes off the fields, already the mice
have been
there.
Yeah.
And of course the water. Water that's polluted.
Yeah.
Salmonella.
So would you vaccinate against it or not?
I haven't, but I treat like with chloramphenicol, mixture of Furosol.
Furosol and all that kind of stuff,
As soon as I see a pigeon standing on one leg, I've got a suspicion that it's got it. And then I treat them and the next day...
Explain that to me, because it seems I've never heard that before.
You see a pigeon on the perch, and it's standing on one leg.
Yes.
That's suspicion that it's got paratyphoid.
Is that so? Why?
The elbows will start swelling.
Okay, that makes sense,
and then you come out check under the tail. It's got droppings sticking.
Sticking there,
Yeah.
And then a lot of guys use for the paratyphoid before the season, they do that 10-day treatment of bait rod.
Yeah.
Are you for that or against it?
No, I don't do that. I haven't actually really used bait rod, but I'll put them on stuff like toxibiotic for 10 days, sometimes 21 days before the season starts. Yeah. And
Furazole, or the Furazole?
Furazole where you need.
With the you like the yellow medicines in the heat.
Yeah, Furazole.
And like a lot of guys mix the medications like Furazole and canker or Furazole and cock.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who use Furazole and enthrall.
Yes, like Furazole and enthrall.
Yeah, but if you do that, then you mustn't raise those pigeons that week. It's all right to raise them
the following week, because the enthrall can be hard on them, eh?
Yeah, enthrall, you give that in a week, you don't raise those pigeons that week.
Yeah, no, that's true. And then for the distance, do you give any oily seeds like peanuts or do you have sunflower?
Yeah, during the season, like in the beginning to about the middle, I'll give them dia sunflower, but after the evening meal.
Yes.
So just like a teacup between 20 birds.
Okay.
And then I'll change the peanuts after that. Especially when they come from a race.
Yes.
And I'll give them peanuts until the Tuesday, but not just peanuts.
In the mix?
Yeah, or at night after the main meal.
Okay.
After the main
You find that helps them recover better?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I like to race my pigeons week after week.
I was going to ask you this. So you don't race every second week?
No. I'll keep a small team and I'll race them fit and I'll keep them like it.
So if you say you race them week after week, what do you do during the week?
Then I'll give them only shorts. Only about 30 Ks.
How many?
About 3.
And that's it? Just to keep him sharp?
Yeah.
And then?
Yeah, just to keep him loose and keep him...
And when you say a small team, what's a small team?
Well, I'll start with 60 birds and then I'll bring them down to about 35. And after a while, I've only got 16. I've sorted them out, and then that 16 goes week after week. And they recover quick. Some of them, they don't look like they've flown on this Sunday.
Sure. And then, if your team's that small, what sort of stock team do you keep?
I'll keep about 8 pairs of stock Patry pigeons, limmerbuts, and then about 8 pairs of Mondas.
I said don't keep many stock.
No. I'll try just to keep them.
And then how many rounds do you take?
I'll take about 3 rounds.
3 rounds out of them.
Yeah.
Are you a believer in late breeds or do you breed early?
No, late breeds, if you breed late breeds and you're going to race them, once you get them on the wing, you keep them on the wing right through until the season starts.
So you don't stop?
Don't stop. You just they must fly at least once a day.
Okay.
Once a day. And then they'll fall in, they'll be able to smoke the pipes.
Yeah, they'll hold their own.
Yeah.
They'll hold their own. And then in your years of business, who to you have been some of the greats that you've looked up to? Like, we've only heard of them, but you've got to know them, you've got to handle their birds.
Look, Peter Skuman was very, very great. And then, of course, the bloke that he got his pigeons from, what was his name again? Ronnie Croxford.
Okay. Those names I've only heard of.
Ronnie Croxford.
Skuman I've heard, Ronnie Croxford.
Ronnie Croxford also got his birds from Patry, but they got them the Herman Vierens lines.
Yes.
And what he called the Croxford Blues.
That's right.
Perfect pair.
Yes.
And then Isaac Bell was a good one. Very good.
Very good.
And then there was another bloke where Isaac got his birds that I mentioned before, Talia, Oxford Road in Kensington.
Yes, I've never heard of him. What was his first name?
They called him Perry, but it was J.A. Talia, young Talia. But he was a great one. He was a quiet man. The blacks never knew. He never spoke much. He was a bus conductor on the municipal buses and that.
Okay.
And never had kids. And his mother used to train the pigeons for him because of his shift work. And then, of course, Isaac Bell used to go and help him there.
Yeah.
And then there were blacks like Nicky Billett, Arthur Rennie, all those
I remember that name. I don't know them, but I remember the names.
Yeah, and like Harold Whiting.
Harold Whiting. Terence got some of his birds from Harold Whiting. Because that whole south was full of top fancies.
Yeah, it was a Jackie Duplessis that flew in our club as well in the southern suburbs. Also had a slimmer putts. Jackie was, I used to work on the clocks, set pigeon clocks on a Tuesday, and Jackie used to come to the club and they used to talk on a Tuesday night. And the one Tuesday night he said to me, put the new paper roll in my clock. I said, but there's a half a paper roll still left there. He said, you put the new paper roll in the clock. And from that week, he came from behind and he just overtook the blokes in averages.
Yeah, he must have clocked a lot of birds.
Yeah.
Did you know Walter Bitter?
Yeah.
Okay, also
Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around, buddy.
Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah. But
he doesn't race, but he's got the love for the birds.
Talks pigeons like you can't believe.
Yeah, he loves. He's also been overseas. He went over with Roland.
Yeah, because he could speak German.
That's right,
Yeah, they brought a lot of birds for Dr. Breiman.
That's right. What's your opinion on the imported birds versus like the older birds, like your strain compared to the imported birds?
Well, Dr. Breiman at the time when I was racing, he was racing with us, he brought new pigeons in from overseas all the time. I don't know how many, Imbrachs and Voters and Voters.
Yes.
But Dr. Breiman mentioned that my pigeons are still in the same quality as us pigeons.
Is that so?
Yeah, exactly the same quality. Although I haven't put new pigeons with mine at that stage.
So how far do you go into inbreeding? How close do you go?
I don't go too close, but
what's the closest and what's...
brother and sister, or father and daughter, but their eyes mustn't be the same. If it's a pearl-eyed daughter...
So you always clash the eyes, you always have pearl or orange.
Yeah, then you know you're not putting them too close.
Yeah.
Although they're brother and sister.
Okay, so you... Yeah. And have you had good performance pigeons out of, say, a father and a daughter or brother and a sister?
Yeah, plenty.
Is it?
Yeah, plenty.
And they race well like that?
Yeah. If you take Isaac Bell's pigeons also, they were very, very close, not family of pigeons.
Okay.
And if a bloke had a pelt pigeon in his stock loft, I'll go and take it out without knowing the guy's pigeons. And the same with Peter de Wit's batteries.
Yeah, another good name, eh?
Yeah, Peter de Wit.
Yeah.
I'll go into anybody's loft and take his pigeons out.
Yeah.
Because they were all similar.
Similar pigeons. Yeah. And have you got any theories besides the performance on what you look for in the birds?
Look at the eyes. The only thing that I do actually look at the eyes is to see the pigeon's health.
Yeah, the vibrancy in the health.
Yeah, and normally a pigeon that's on form, you could see it in its eyes.
Yes.
Now, Isaac Bell also showed me that you look in a pigeon's eye to see if it's healthy. Well to go to the race.
Yes.
And what he said is normally around the outside it's got small bubbles, you could hardly see them. And also the grain of the eye sticks out like broken metal. It's like cast iron that's been broken.
Very much sticks out, yeah. You like that. And then besides that, the wing, the kill.
Yeah, the wing, under the wing there are like 4 feathers.
Yes.
They're like straight. They must stick out and they must look like as if they've been ironed flat, and they must be in place. And then of course the ears must be puffed.
You like the ears puffed?
Yeah, and then the wings mustn't have ash on it. You get someone that looks like it's got cigarette ash on the edges. It mustn't be ash. And also if you go into the loft to see if you've got loft form, there should be little donkeys floating around all over the show. And feathers sticking on their heads, that's static.
Yeah. And the droppings, obviously, you like?
Yeah, droppings must be round, and if you get into the loft early in the morning, it must be a perimeter droppings. The pigeon mustn't have moved around.
It must be calm and...
And then the feet, of course, must be warm and clean. You know, even if the loft floor is dirty, there must be no droppings.
And bathing, do you bath before a race, or do you?
Yeah, I like bathing them before a race on basketing day morning.
Okay.
I normally put a bit of condensed crystals in the water. But if I see the weather and it's going to be rainy weather, then I'll basket them the day before, either Wednesday or not on Thursday.
Not on a Thursday. just in case they need the water.
Yeah. Now the birds must be fresh, and when they bath, they get rid of all that old, I call it French chalk. They get rid of that, and within an hour they got fresh powder on them, and that is like a lubricant.
Have you got any theories regarding the throat? Because a lot of guys like the throat.
Yeah, no, the throat, well, as far as the mouse concerned, the tongue must lay flat, and it must appear to be dry when you open it.
Okay.
No slime, and then the air at the back must be closed nearly. Narrow. And the little comb at the back, the tongue should hang flat, hang down.
And the top part of the
split, the split can be open, but I don't really look at that.
Okay.
But clear of any mucus.
And then a lot of guys query this, or they don't know what it is. Some of the birds get these white spots in the back of their throat. Have you come across that?
I think that was when they've recovered from mycoplasma.
And what, do you discard those birds?
No, it's because I've handled winners with
like that.
In the back of the throat.
Okay. And you think they'll produce winners again if they're like that?
Yeah. As long as you look, your stock birds have to be 100% healthy to breed healthy babies.
Yes.
And Now the other thing with form, I have a look at the wattles as well. The wattles, the nose must be open, mustn't be dipped or anything.
And white.
White, snow white. Yeah. Even the big could be a little bit of white pattern.
Can have a bit of white pattern on it. Okay, that's interesting. And then a lot of the guys on basketing nights have little tricks of drops and... Normally what I do is like on basketing day, the only medication that I'll put in the water is like something like what they call stall dripples. It's a linen product,
I'll put 3 drops in the water.
Per litre? What does that do then?
That actually stimulates the blood, gives the pigeon more blood because it's iron.
Okay.
And then the blood is, of course, carries the oxygen to the body when the bird's in full flight. Otherwise, the other stuff is also very good. Cell oxygen or cell food.
Cell food.
Those drops. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's also patent.
Yes. I've seen the cell food. And then a lot of guys are using this new product, Blitz Form. And
all that stuff's got iron or Lugol's iodine
in them. Are you like the Lugol's iodine?
Yeah, in the off season I like to give it at least like 3 times a week.
Is it?
With some garlic water.
It stimulates the...
Now I put garlic through a liquidizer, and then I take 3 drops and I put it like 2 liters of water. Every other day, got a Lugol's.
Any other medication during the breeding season for the stock birds?
Not really. I'll give them like Protection or Medpits.
Like intestine or Intro Plus or something like that? But no medication is...
No. The stock birds are only really medicated in the off season. So,
this was going to ask you, stock birds, you medicate them before you mate them up? Deworm, canker, coxy...
Like once a week, especially the stock hens, I'll have Tremasol in the water with pigeon tea. Every Sunday. Then I know they clear up worms when the season starts. But you don't want to deworm your stock birds while they're feeding babies.
No, sure. So you give that Tremasol throughout? Yeah. And
then the stock hens, you've got to keep thin. Not thin, but they mustn't build up fat.
So what do you do for that? More sunflower?
More barley. 60% barley.
Is it that much? That much barley. And then obviously vitamins and minerals, you give the grits and that kind of stuff. Okay, that's very interesting.
And then of course canker treatment for the stock birds, canker and stock coxy also in the off season.
And then a lot of the old guys, which I follow now, I don't know if it's true, but they used to mate up on full moon.
No, I don't really look at that.
Because of when the babies hatch.
No, I don't really look at that.
So when do you mate up then?
I mate up normally in July so that I can wean the babies on our sort of last race.
When you finish up.
Then I can concentrate more on the babies and there's a bit more room in the loft. Yeah.
And then you take 2 more rounds and then you finish up.
Yeah. Now, Isaac told what I learned from him is he said at the end of the season you only keep 5 pigeons over the first year. Next season you keep another 5 birds over. And in 3 or 4 years you've got 25 birds in the team that when you put them there, they eat.
They do, but if you look at nowadays, the guys raise pigeons up until 2 years.
Yeah.
And then they're finished.
Yeah. No, Isaac Bellin and he had 5-year-old, 6-year-old pigeons
Racing
scoring,
monster.
and he used to send them, he used to run, like I say, he used to keep also pigeons,
Yeah.
and he used to also say you race them for the racing gets up.
Yeah. Okay, raise them and obviously then maintain them fit.
Yeah, because he used to send them back, they flew, well those days they flew Hutchinson, which was about 700 k's now. He used to double them back. And they only sent 5 or 6 or 7 birds at a time. In Pittskuman, the old man was the same. 5, 6, 7 birds, and they eat first, second, and third.
Yeah. But it just makes you think the birds were tougher then.
I think they were.
Because
although they did medicate their birds earlier, they used to squirt down vitamins and stuff with a syringe.
Yeah.
But they also, the way they cleaned their pigeons out those days. Yes.
Do you believe in that cleaning out with that mix, that Ipsy's mix?
I don't believe in it, although I do give it.
Do you give it?
I do give it now and then. When I feel, my gut feeling feels that they must get it out.
Yeah,
but they used to, if you put it in the water, the pigeon puts his head in there and pulls it out.
So they squirt it down.
They use those big syringes that they use.
Yes. And then that loft doesn't look too well after that.
No, and the pigeons look miserable as well. And then they used to use this dicestal.
I was going to ask you now on that. Some guys use the dicestal and then they do that.
Yeah, but the old man Skuman said you feed the pigeons and then you give them the dicestal. You mustn't starve them. You must feed them and then take them for a 10-kilometer toss.
They're not going to vomit it all out in
Yeah, but that's the idea about it. They might got a vomit and they like sort of clean their crops. All that green wild and stuff comes out. It was to clean the crops. Yeah.
Just seems harsh to me that.
Yeah, now some of those pigeons, they sit there miserable for a day or two. And
you get nothing right with them.
I also made a mistake down there by me once. We had a comeback Lugamka race, and I thought, now, this week, I must deworm the birds early because it's a short race. And what I did is, I got stuff there, Traders orange for, it's actually for goats and stuff like that.
Okay.
I put that over the food.
Sure.
And I put Medpets deworming powder over the food as well. Plus I had Tremasol in the water.
Sure.
And the pigeons came back. And they, of course, into the food and into the water from the toss. And they started vomiting. On the Sunday, 2 or 3 died in the loft.
Yeah.
The Tuesday, I thought, all the food that they ate, they vomited for the whole weekend. And the Tuesday, I thought I'd better give these pigeons a toss now, because to see if they were right. So I took them out for a short toss. Well, I opened the basket, 2 or 3 rolled out dead. And the others were overheated. Their throats were going like this. But they made it home. And I'll put, what was it, Coronson seed in water to try and detox it. Plus I'll put Scotch emulsion over the food to get the rivers so they're right again.
Yeah.
Now I actually phoned up my chairman and I said, I don't think I'm going to race this week. What did you do? So I said to him, I told him what I did. So he said, but you're all pigeon fancy, you get up to such nonsense. But on the Friday morning, on basketing, those pigeons were working up and down my loft like and their feathers have changed. Their feathers went soft and they felt like soft corduroy sort of. And I thought, no, I'm going to send you. put 9 pigeons in the first 12 that week.
Sure.
But
these
it's a mistake. I want to get it.
Yeah, but these pigeons, we can never pinpoint exactly what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. So I went back to that bottle of Prado's red or orange, what it was, and it says, don't mix with other medications.
Sure.
So you better watch out what you do.
You've got to watch out what you do. When you treat for liver, do you give anything like Leviston?
Yeah, Pigeon 40.
Pigeon 40.
Yeah.
You give that kind of stuff. Yeah, because and for energy, do you give vitamins or?
Yeah, I use the Pitzkuman's winning tonic and I put glucose with it.
You put glucose with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes the birds need.
Yeah.
Because what we put into them with all the medication.
Yes.
It's amazing that some of them. I've heard some of the mixes that the guys do here. You're amazed that the birds come home with that kind of stuff in them, eh?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard some mixes over the years.
Yeah, no, Dr. Brian would say he had a mix that he used to call 3-in-1, which was termicin, sulfamazidine, and enthrall. He mixed those 3 together.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong about it, he used it 2 times.
But you don't get that sulfur anymore, eh?
No, but there's the other one, sulfazine.
Sulfazine, similar.
Sulfazine.
Yeah.
More or less similar, but with pigeon fans, yes, it's got to be.
Got to be the exact one, because you.
And then of course the termicin also.
Yeah, you don't get that, and then the Thailand, the proper Thailand, you don't get anymore.
Yeah, I used to use that also quite a lot.
Thailand, you don't get anymore. Yeah. And so down there, you mix your own food. There's no shops that mix food.
There are, but you got to go far. You got to go far to fetch. You know, when you do go and fetch, and
it's a far
you got to go quite far. But I watch they agree when they got a good batch of movies, then I'll buy a couple of bags.
Bags of movies, yeah.
And of course, in barley down there where we plant.
Barley, you plant barley down there.
Yeah. I myself don't, but my neighbouring farmers.
You were, if I remember correctly, because I just watched some of your stuff, were into horses at one stage, eh?
Yeah.
You love the horses, eh?
Yeah, now I've got 3 horses.
You still got the horses there?
3 horses.
And the chalets on the farm you still got?
Yeah, there's a school teacher that's renting the one chalet because she gives school across the road.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the kids come and stay in the others.
And the kids come and they never look at the lofts?
No, not really.
Yeah, not really interested.
Yeah, they're not really interested. They're more
worried about the horses, eh?
Yeah, and then they go and walks. They go and walks on the farm.
And something we have to talk about in South Africa is the security on a farm.
Yeah, ours is, well, there's quite, we're off the beaten track there on the 33's case on a dirt track. But we got, at each intersection there's cameras with solar panels and stuff.
So you monitor all the time?
It's monitored all the time.
Because unfortunately it's reality in our country, we've got to say that we always have to bring it up, but it's...
Yeah, and then my farm I've got electric fencing all around it as well.
Is it?
Yeah, we keep the goats and stuff in there.
And you don't ever see yourself coming back up here?
Well, I've still got my loft up here.
I know, because Mr. Pereira told me your loft's still there, your house is still
my
there.
house is still there, which I let out. I've got 3 houses on the property.
Yeah.
My loft's still standing, but that I just left in case I come back up.
Yeah.
But I don't see it.
You don't see yourself going back to the rat race, yeah?
Although I'd like to come here for the racing, but no, it's a different.
Is the racing more competitive up here?
Because I'd say because the people are more concentrated, the fanciers.
Yeah, not
because
so
down there they spread out.
So like to your club, how far would you have to drive to your club?
33 k's.
Sure,
and my nearest pigeon fancier members 25 k's on a straight line.
Yeah, see me, it's my neighbour, and it's...
Yeah, my pigeons have to come by themselves. They've got to break out and come by themselves. And if they come from a certain distance, a certain route, approaching the loft, I know. I know I've won the union.
How is the day?
I won the one union there last season. I also sent 2 cocks. They were out of the same loft, big wonders. The one pigeon arrived and he won the union by an hour and 10 minutes.
With the Union.
He won the Union by an hour and 10 minutes winning margin. And his brother, which was 17 minutes after him, got second.
Got second.
Got second.
Exactly the same way bred.
Same way bred. Same way bred.
And the distance of that race?
It was like a Stridenberg, which was about 450 k's.
Yeah, that's a
It was a hard race.
It was a hard race. Velocity of?
900.
It's low, eh?
Yeah.
Very low.
Yeah.
Yeah, what have been some of your highlights since you've been down there now? Besides being club champion?
Like I said before, that Blue Monk race, which was our longest distance, where I had only 2 birds on the night. 2 little sisters, one at 1 and one at 2. But they're both in the stock loft now as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then club championships, obviously quite a few.
Yeah. I've actually, my club has grown, but sometimes I actually feel uncomfortable going to the club, knowing that I won the race again.
Yeah.
It makes you feel bad after a while.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
And I've gone down to their level as well, and I race with the hand clock again.
How do you race?
Yeah, I race with the hand clock to be on the same level as other members in our club.
Yeah.
And otherwise I've got to travel 33 k's on the dirt road carrying cables and computers and printers and all that stuff.
So now hand clock, the guys have to work it out manually, all of that again.
No, we've
got a computer that
we got a program on a
so you just type in the time and the distance and it spits out the velocity.
Falcon flight.
Falcon, yeah.
Falcon flight.
Yeah.
And John Falk, he stays down there by us.
So that helps a lot, yeah. He's also got the program,
for pedigrees
and that stuff. Yes. Seems quite a nice program that.
Yeah.
A lot of guys up here use it. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So and then club champ, you've been there 10 times now.
Yeah, 10 times in a row.
10 times in a row.
Yeah. First year not, but although the birds were eating, but I only raced about 16 yearlings the first season.
Okay.
And then 1 week, we flew also, I think it was a Stridenberg or a Hanover. I had 2 birds together. When I got to the club, I was like 10 minutes ahead of everybody in the clock, and they had to give me 33 k's over.
Sure.
And the old champion in the club, guy by Maka Swart, he said to the other guys, I just heard him say, "Ek het julle gesê, julle moenie die man vat nie." And anyway, I helped him read the clocks, and by the time I had my cables and stuff all packed away at the end of the ring out, I went into the pub where they normally sit, and it was just me and the barman. Just me and the barman.
That's what happens when you win, you lose.
Yeah, everybody left.
Yeah.
Normally they care.
And that you spoiled it there for them.
Yeah.
Well. And the other thing I want to ask you, which I hop on a lot on you on Facebook, is when do we get a book out of you?
Yeah, I must start on that. I've got all my paperwork and writings from before, so I must put it together.
Because that's, it's seldom that we get a decent basis for novices.
Yeah.
Just like the pitch one's fine.
Yeah.
But I've read a lot of your writings, and it's much more basic and common sense that a person can use.
Yeah. Now you take also that book, Piet Schoeman's first book, the 3 Diamond Masters. Now his section, now I'm not running the man down, but his section tells you more stories. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do. Yeah. So I'm talking about, because I've read your writings on Facebook where you would give an essay on something, and it's all common sense. And then I always comment, we need a book. No, I must, because Dr. Rob Conradi has also mentioned that put quite a lot of sense into it.
Yes, hell of a nice guy. He tests you every Sunday. He's a very nice guy. Yeah, I'm sure you know a lot of the guys well up here. I think a guy that bought a lot of your birds, I don't know if they flew for him this year, but he was Fair champion this year is Harry Wilson.
Yeah, well, I bought some of my pigeons, but not too many. Right?
Yeah.
We bought them as expensive and on my sale when I had my sale before I moved down.
Okay.
We bought her in that she won 6 races and also quite a few sevens.
Okay.
There was also a dog check, Barry Miller Slimmer, Patrie,
Okay.
which he bought, but yeah, Harry Wilson, he buys all these stock pigeons.
Yeah, Harry
So,
was the
you know,
best day. Yeah.
yeah.
He was. And then Chris van Jaarsveld.
Yeah,
He says he gets birds from you from time to time.
yeah, he's actually was a cousin of my late wife.
Oh, okay.
Chris,
Okay.
yeah.
Chris, of course, yeah.
And of course Henry and
And Henry, yeah. Henry are very good friends with Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see him from time to time.
Yeah.
He's racing phenomenally well at the moment.
yeah, his dad was racing with us in the old Southern.
Yes. I remember his dad very well.
That Regent's Park was the pigeon mecca in the south.
Yeah.
With like 12 member pigeon fences in one block.
Yes,
And they let the birds all out at the same time, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just see a big
Cloud.
pack flying.
Yeah, I remember his dad very well. Yeah, I mean, that South had plenty. But we as well had a lot of fences. I grew up in Malvern. So Malvern had a lot of fences.
Yeah.
We had Golden City there, and we had Malvern there.
Yeah,
And then the South had...
yeah. No, those old Malvern guys also knew them very well.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown and Peter Zeidenmeer.
Yeah, so he lived just down the road from my high school. I always used to walk past school and see if I
Okay.
could see him and go in and...
No, I think he lived in one of the side roads.
The side roads there, yeah. Peter
Yeah.
Zeidenmeer, yeah. Yes, that's
Yeah.
going back years there, yes.
Yeah, his wife was Rita.
Yeah,
Rita Zeiden.
yeah, yes,
I
that's
think
going
she was the race secretary.
Okay, yeah, that's going back years there.
Yeah.
And then you obviously knew the top guys here, like Silas Willis and
Yeah.
Louis de Jager.
Yeah.
Louis still with us, he's
Yeah.
95,
Yeah.
still races, still drives,
Okay.
still brings
Yeah,
his
it's good.
birds, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Silas I knew well. Yes.
She could tell a lot of stories about
Yeah,
Silas.
no, you used to go to his meetings. He used to be the chairperson of the union and then go to his meetings. You'll rush through the agenda like that and then straight to the pub.
Straight to the whiskey.
And yes, then you're lucky to get home. He looks at his glass like that and he says, there's a whole minute. There's a whole minute.
Yeah, another legend, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Louis ran, when I started, they ran the union for many years.
Yeah.
Many years.
Yeah.
I don't know who was in charge of the field in those days then.
Yeah, look, it was Monty van den Berg and then Ethelwood was the
I know
longest.
that name, yeah.
Ethelwood was the longest.
I think then after when I was, Arnie Merwe was a bit
Only Mori came
after
afterwards.
that, yeah.
Yeah. But Ethelwood was the longest reigning
Longest
chairperson
serving,
of the TRPF.
Okay.
And then Monty van den Berg was always the race secretary and stuff.
All of that kind of stuff, yeah.
Used to do the measurements for the blacks before the
Yes.
GPS.
Yeah, before all this technology
Yeah.
came around.
Yeah. He never believed in the GPS.
Didn't he?
No, he says the satellites don't stand still, they move all the time, so you get in an inaccurate reading. But yeah, and he was more or less right because you do your loft measurements with the GPS now.
Yeah.
You do it next week.
Always a
4 or 5 meters
meters
out.
out, yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. They just got to centralize and use the same method of determining the velocities and the same of getting the points.
Yeah, the coordinates.
The GPS.
Yeah.
That's all.
Coordinates.
Yeah. No, George Reed, thank you very much for sharing your time and your knowledge with us. I hope we can do it again. And I hope you take that book seriously.
I'll do that.
And get something together for us.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.